Welcome back, everyone. Episode of Brothers on Air. What are we drinking today, Thomas? What we got there?
The huge.
The huge
little
tea.
Little sweet tea.
Oh, every time it looks like I think it's like Guinness for some reason.
Ew, dog, no. It's called the
Is it?
my Veil cup.
Oh, so is that what you poured? I thought you were pouring yourself milk when you went and got something to drink. I don't know why I thought I saw like a milk jug, and I was like, that's disgusting.
No, it's from Woodman's. It's called the best damn tea.
Oh,
I'm serious. It is. I needed something to drink other than water because water got kind of boring, but I didn't want to drink soda because I feel like crap every time I drink soda. And this has like 10 calories per I think it's either 12 or 16 ounces. So I was like, that's not bad. So I'm gonna drink that. And tea, as we know, is basically just flavored water with leaves. So
yeah, I got tea in a little mug. There's a little bit left, but it's just a little tea bag and water.
Anyway, now that we know our beverages.
Yep. All right.
What are we talking about this week, Isaac?
Let's get into it. Yeah, what are we talking about? We're talking about one of the classics. One of the movies that I personally love. It's not really a classic, but it is a classic.
Love.
Prologue.
You battled me to watch this movie.
I love this movie. I love these movies. And we were watching.
What a joke. This guy.
We were watching The Hobbit.
Yes.
An Unexpected Journey, the first one of 3.
Yes, sir.
And the what is it? Not prologue. The
prequels.
Prequels to the actual. What did I even say before? Thomas, I'm losing my words.
I don't know.
Classic. There you go.
Yeah.
Of The Lord of the Rings.
I mean, so they're like prequels, but they're not prequels. They're just the story that happens before The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Technically, The Hobbit was written first, and The Lord of the Rings is a sequel to The Hobbit. But we are talking about the movies, not the book. So this is a prequel. But what a great movie. Let's just give a little synopsis.
All right. Synapse.
This movie, first of all, this movie is so much happens in this. I forgot how much happened in it until I started watching, and I was like, geez, I thought all this was happening in the next 2 movies, but no, apparently not. All right, I feel like I should just read one off of this IMDb page. It makes it easier.
Sure, go for it.
Should I pick a long one or a medium long one?
Whichever one you want.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just going to read this one.
Okay, read that one.
With its days of adventure and excitement nearly forgotten, the now 111-year-old Bilbo Baggins has finally settled down for the more conventional, comfortable, and above all, safe way of living in his beloved Green Shire. Almost 60 years before the formation of the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, a knock at Bilbo's door from the wise Gandalf the Grey, and an assortment of uncontrollable dwarves led by the King Thorin Oakenshield prepared the ground for an unexpected quest to help them reclaim their homeland. Erebor. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I believe so.
The homeland? Yeah. As the lonely mountain was taken over by the gargantuan gold-loving dragon Smaug, its unlikely company would face challenge upon challenge that would later seal the fate of the entire Middle Earth. And then this is kind of crap. So, I mean, that gives a very, very quick idea of what the movie's about. But I'm just going to go over it in my head. So, Bilbo Baggins, 111 years old, right? Starts to write down what happened in his journey 60 years ago. And it started with Gandalf the Grey coming to him and kind of being like, you're too comfortable here. Let's maybe there'll be something, happening in the future. And Bilbo's like, oh, that's weird. And he walks away from him. And then that night, 13 dwarves show up at his front door, including Gandalf, right? And he's like, what's happening? And they invite him to go on an adventure to reclaim their homeland. After some worrisome, panicky faints and a long sleep, Bilbo decided to go with them and engage on this adventure. And one of the first things, what do they run into first? It's not the trolls, is it?
It is. I believe it is, actually.
Yeah, it is the trolls. So they, obviously things happen. They run into the trolls, almost die. They're frozen. We can just talk about that in specifics when we're going through this. They continue on, and they are chased down by a pack of orcs. And Gandalf takes them through a hidden passage into Rivendell, the elven city. I think it's probably basically a city that and they are there. Gandalf meets with the like table of, I forget what they're called, but like a council who's like the leader of Rivendell, Galadriel, and I forget who that guy is. Galadriel and Sauron, the White Wizard, who's alive now because it's in the past. Sauron.
Is it Sauron or Saruman?
Saruman is the. I thought Saruman's the guy. Or maybe Saruman is the.
Wait, I got it. Wait.
I swear it's Sauron.
Oh my god, this cast is freaking massive because there's 13 freaking dwarves. What's dude's name again? Christopher Lee. Saruman. Yeah, Saruman.
Yeah. Okay, Saruman. Okay, Saruman.
Ha! You know how you remember this? There, right? It ends with man. So man. Yeah. So Saruman.
Amen. Yeah. So Saruman. And Saruman is like, I don't like the idea of this adventure because there's other things in the works. You shouldn't let them go. And Gandalf told Galadriel that he saw this coming and let them go on their quest alone. Or secretly. So they're out there. They are walking on these mountains. They get stuck in between these two battling rock giants. They're kind of having a battle of fisticuffs, and then they hide in a cave, and the cave opens up to a goblin home. So they kind of get captured by goblins. Bilbo gets separated from the group and runs in to none other than
Gollum.
Why am I blanking on his name? Gollum. Or what's his first? What's his real
Gollum.
name?
In this movie, it's Gollum.
Oh, it is Gollum. What is his real name, though?
Smeagol.
I forget. I can't. Smeagol. Okay, yeah. He runs into Gollum, where he has a little pit with him. Has a little
little game.
What are they called? Little game of wits where they ask each other riddles, and whoever can solve it, lives. And Bilbo wins by asking him what's in my pocket, which Gollum then realizes his ring is gone. Bilbo realizes that if he puts a ring on, he disappears, and he gets away from Gollum, sparing his life. And he regroups with the rest of the pack just as they're jumped by the thought to be dead pale orc, who
what's his name again?
Thorin tries to fight him again and gets badly injured by him. And Bilbo saves his life with a feat of bravery. And then they're saved by birds, who is supposed to be sent by Galadriel. And then, Gandalf revives Thorin. Thorin's alive, and he kind of reclaims his hatred for Bilbo at the end, saying that he's kind of brave. And then movie 2 comes. We'll talk about that next week. Let's just hop into it, Tom. It's a very long explanation.
I mean, that's a pretty good explanation, in my opinion.
Yeah. I kind of left out...
it's a good plot.
Radagast in common with Necromancer, but we can just talk about that.
Whatever. Okay.
But yeah.
So,
let's start with the beginning.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's start with the beginning.
Let me find my notes here.
I just love Peter Jackson's. He's so good at like intro movie epilogues. Like the whole scene of like describing like how like what life was like before Smaug came along, and like the dwarves were kind of like greedy, as just kind of like setting that up, how they always were. And then like Smaug came and they were kicked out and like from their land, and now they're just like wandering. Like, I love Peter Jackson's so good at like
setting
doing
up his
good
stories.
epilogue in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like he did a really good job in like Lord of the Rings.
Is it epilogue or prologue? Why am I dumb?
Maybe both. I think it's epilogue.
Is it?
Maybe it's prologue. Maybe
at the end of the book is epilogue.
Is it? I thought epilogue is kind of like just explaining something that the audience doesn't know, but the characters know.
A separate introductory section of a literary or musical work is prologue.
I guess it's prologue.
Must be prologue. Anyway, regardless. Yes, I really enjoy how he sets up his stories. He did the same thing in Lord of the Rings. of how like Sauron and everything came to be in the ring and all that stuff. And he did just as good of a job in this series as he did in the other one. So I also really enjoyed that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, it's so good. You know, a little trivia that from like my watchings of behind the scenes of this, because I love watching behind the scenes of these movies. The first roar of smog that you hear,
I know what it is.
Coming.
I know what it
is like a sound engineer's daughter. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
she was like asking about it. And he's like, here, this is how like I make a voice into a dragon, and she like had her roar, and he made it into that. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah,
I love it. But yeah, I love just the beginning. I love Peter Jackson's little prologue. So I guess we came to the conclusion that it's called.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
How do you want to break this down? Because it's kind of a long movie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you want to break it down.
All right. Well, with the prologue, I did write one thing down about the prologue. That I spotted. So overall, I'm sure we'll circle back to this. The CGI in this movie is pretty good, and in all the Peter Jackson movies are pretty good. But some of the close-ups, specifically like in the mountain scenes, like of the king or of whatever, I thought they were not great.
Really?
Yeah. If you go and watch the prologue again, like there's a couple like there's a scene, for example, like when what's his Thrain? Is that the king's name? Or is that
Thorin?
No. Thorin is like the current guy, right? The old king. Yeah. The old king that first got the Heart of the Mountain. Whatever. That guy, right? There's like the close-up of his face like this. Like he's on the throne like this, right? Him on the throne.
Yeah.
There's like a close-up like this, and you see kind of behind. His behind doesn't look great. It's kind of...
Really?
It was kind of garbo.
That might have been a little rushed or something.
That was
I didn't really pay attention to that.
That was the only part of the CGI I ever noticed that was kind of shaky, was when they did close-ups of faces in like in the beginning part. Only part I noticed.
Yeah, I didn't.
But that is one thing that I wrote down.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that feels like something that they might have been like pinched with time or like rushed, or they just kind of overlooked it. Because like if it's only like the prologue where you kind of see that might be.
That is true.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
Who does the voiceover for the beginning? Do you remember?
Ian Holm, Bilbo.
Does he?
It's like Bilbo talking. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It does, because he's the one that's like writing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So he's talking about that.
Right.
Yeah. Which is cool. I wrote this down. I like how they got Ian Holm for like that, just that little bit in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like the original Bilbo.
And apparently they also got what's his name? Elijah Wood as well. They both reprised their characters. But why?
Oh yeah.
This is the second thing I wrote down. Why do they look so weird?
Because
am I the only one that thought they looked weird?
No.
They looked so weird.
I noticed that Elijah Wood looks weird because like he's just not Frodo like he was back then. Like he's older and they made him look younger, but like there was a shot.
And he sounds different too.
Yeah.
It all looks whack.
Like there's a shot where they kind of get close to him and he just like looks, because he's like old, he just looks so much skinnier, like his face, and I was like, that doesn't look like Frodo. It looks so weird. But
that is true. Yeah. His jawline's a lot more cut.
Like, yeah. I mean, they're supposed to be like way younger than they were. Actually, no. In the beginning, they're supposed to be how they are.
Yeah, you're right.
Of Lord of the Rings, but I mean, it's not as bad as we could talk about it in other movies because he's not here yet. But what's his name? I can't think of his name. Legolas.
Oh.
When he comes back, he looks.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember, honestly. But it's been a while.
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
I feel like I always watch this first movie. I feel like I've watched this first movie at least 3 times more than I've seen the second 2. Like by far. I don't know why, but it's like, let's watch The Hobbit, and then I get like halfway through the first movie and I pass out, and then I just kind of forgot about the second 2.
It's because they're so long, man. Like they're so good, but they're so long.
They are.
But yeah, I like that they got them back and made that like intro thing really cool. With Ian Holm and Elijah Wood.
And I like how they started the movie with the beginning of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they tied it in.
Yeah.
But not even that. You have the part of the Lord of the Rings, right? And you have a little bits and pieces of like him writing like in the Lord of the Rings in the beginning. He's like writing his story, this story, and then it goes into Frodo's, right? But this puts it even like 5 minutes before that, which I really, really like. How they like.
I swear, like
they just meld it right in.
I swear, like one of the beginning scenes of Lord of the Rings is Bilbo like closing the book and then going on with his day.
It is,
and I'm like, it's literally like 2 minutes before that.
Yeah,
it's like Hobbit, and then it's so seamless
because it's literally like I think the first thing you see of Frodo is him in the tree, right, reading or whatever. But now it literally shows like the 5 minutes before when he's leaving to go there, which I don't know why. I love that they like had a prequel of the little scene that's you're like going into. I don't know why. I'd love that. I wrote that down.
No, it's great. I just this like you get the prologue and then you get to the Shire, and it's kind of like the same of like Lord of the Rings, where you have that whole like kind of story of I think it's Galadriel talking in the beginning of that. And then you go into the Shire, and it's just like do 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 do, and then you get like the Hobbit like theme song, and I'm just like, oh my, I'm home. I loved it. I love these movies. It's so great.
Do you know that that whole set is on a farm, and they do like tourist tours, and when they came back to them, they were like, oh yeah, we'll shut down. That's totally fine. And they went back and redid the whole thing, or like added, you know what I mean, filmed and added and stuff.
Yeah,
and now they still do it in New Zealand.
I swear they like I think for like Lord of the Rings, it was kind of like a temporary set for that, but I think when they came back and did the Hobbit, they like did more like permanent things and just kind of left it there for them.
Probably
because like, I swear they like just did more with like the doors and like stuff like that. But I would love to go there.
I know they had like it was on a farm, and they were literally doing like tours and stuff, and they were like, yeah, sure, we'll shut down. That's totally fine, because they know obviously the ROI on that's gonna be crazy. Like, yeah, okay, sure, we shut down for like 3 months, and then we got all this new stuff. You know? So.
Yeah. Also, they're definitely getting paid to shut down. Like, they're giving them money to use their land.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Again, so.
For sure.
Yeah. I like, another thing, like, I mean, I guess we're going to move on to the next clip. The scene with the dwarves, when they come in, right? I love these dwarves.
Wait, can we, wait.
Okay.
I want to talk before this, right before that, right? The meeting between Bilbo and Gandalf, to me, is so it's so good. I love it. Like just like the script and their banter back and forth was so amusing to me. Like just right off the rip to good morning. Are you saying it's a good morning, or it's merely just a morning to be good on, or just like things like that? It was just like, I don't know, just like his face. Bilbo's like facial reactions are just so great to me. I don't know why. I just really enjoyed them.
No, I love it. I like it kind of like sets up like the character of Bilbo at that time being just like a polite person, and if anybody's weird, he's just like, okay, like cool, and he's like still kind of polite, and he's like, good day, and he like walks away.
Yeah. Great. I like how he like puffs on his pipe. He's like, good day, and like walks away.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
Yes,
what else?
That was the last thing I wanted to say before the interactions. I don't know if you have anything.
Oh yeah, and then so after that, right, all the dwarves get there. I love the characterization of the dwarves in this in the books, because I read The Hobbit really long ago, like literally either like end of elementary school or like the beginning of middle school, and like they kind of describe them with just like different colored hats and stuff, and like he just kind of like that's how you're supposed to separate them outside of the names. Yeah. But it's like this one, every single one of them is obviously different looking, but they're just like so different in like the character they are, and like just you can look at them and be like, okay, that is a clearly separate dwarf from this one. They're not the same person type thing. Which like if you have 13 dwarves, it kind of sometimes gets difficult to like distinguish between some of them. Yeah. Because you like, I don't know. It would probably be a little easier to just be like, okay, these two dwarves are kind of like the funny ones or the serious ones or whatever. Yeah. But each of them have like their own separate thing going on, and it's great. I love it.
Do you know, speaking of like how they distinguish them, all that stuff, Keely is the only one that has real facial hair. Every other single one have fake beards or some sort of fake facial hair. He's the only one that his is fully real.
That's funny.
Yep.
That's great.
But yeah,
Keely's the...
I think he's the one...
Keely's the archer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's the one that got injured in the second movie. I think it's that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, this scene is arguably the best scene in the movie. From when the dwarves show up to when the dwarves leave. What a fantastic little thing going. Like, like let's just take them just only arriving. Just like the headbutt at first, so good. Yeah. To even just the first guy showing up and just like devouring all this food that dude just made for himself, and he's just sitting there like, what is going on? Like, I'm too polite to say anything, like leave, but what is going on? Like, he has no idea.
Like, Bilbo, when the other one gets there and Bilbo starts ranting at them, and he's like, I'm sorry, and they just turn around, he's like,
apology accepted.
Like, apology accepted.
And they just continue. Oh, it's so good. So funny. And then the rest of them come in, and he's just like following them around. He's like, don't touch that. Please, no, don't touch that.
Yeah. It's such a good scene. And then like it continues on just to like the part where they're eating food.
Oh,
it's
my
so
gosh.
chaotic, but so funny.
It's so gross half the time.
Every time I watch that scene though, it kind of makes me sad. Like, it reminds me of the behind the scenes of it, where like you hear the story of like Ian McKellen, Gandalf.
Yeah.
Like, didn't shoot any of that scene with any of them because it was all like green screen. So he just like was sitting there, and they placed like green like dots where everybody was.
Oh, really?
Because like it's just like, I mean, I kind of get it. It's a lot harder to do like horse perspective, which like they kind of did in Lord of the Rings with like 13 people.
Right.
So like that's a bit rough, but like I'm pretty like in the beginning, I remember hearing like a story of Ian McKellen. He like, I think he started crying on set, or like he just got upset or like really flustered because he like was only working with like green screen for like a really long time in this movie, and he's just like, this is not what movies should be. Like, I hate that I'm just acting by myself talking to like green dots or whatever.
Yeah, at one point in the movie, I read a trivia thing that at one point he thought about quitting.
Yeah. Which like makes sense. Like, so much of his stuff was actually just talking to himself.
Yeah, is it the first one? Sorry.
That's fine. It's either like...
Yeah, in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it was the first one, right? The Lord of the Rings trilogy, the scale illusion was accomplished by placing Hobbit or dwarf actors and actresses further away from the camera than Sir Ian McKellen, but still live on the same set. This time, however, that's in Lord of the Rings, right? This time, however, the illusion had to be accomplished by having other actors and actresses on a completely different set, while McLeod performed his part all alone on a green screen set, with only the earpiece connected him to the performance being provided by the rest of the cast. McClellan ended up feeling lonely and frustrated. To cheer him up, the cast and crew snuck into the tent in which he stayed during breaks and decorated it with mementos from Lord of the Rings films, mainly old props and tapestries from Rivendell, and I don't know how to say that. I think it's the Elvish place, as well as fresh fruit and flowers. But I know a couple other, I swear there was one that I read here somewhere that did say at one point he thought about quitting and asking someone else to like step in instead of him. I think it was earlier in the thing, but I know it says here like there was no doubt that Sir Ian McKellen would reprise his role as Gandalf. Peter Jackson said to him, "You must play Gandalf, whether I direct it or not." Oh, here it is. Sir Ian McKellen admitted he was initially so miserable having to act in tedious visual effects shots like that he seriously gave thought to dropping out. He even considered asking Sir John Hurt to offer himself as a replacement. So, I mean, apparently, like, it wasn't necessarily his favorite thing to do. I wonder if in the second movie there's a little bit less of that. I don't know. We haven't gotten there yet. I haven't even spent any time on that page, but yeah, I'm sure that'd be really annoying. As I mean, in real life, he's already a tall guy, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's over 6 foot. almost 100% sure.
I mean, he's a tall dude. Yeah.
So like, and then having to like make sure like he obviously looks tall, but everyone else looks even shorter than normal would definitely be like a like an editing / shooting filming nightmare. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, in like Lord of the Rings, they would like in scenes when like there's a scene where Boromir is like fighting two of the hobbits. What are they called? The Tooks. Like what are they called?
Like the twins, so there's or whatever.
Frodo, Sam, and then like the twins or whatever. He's like kind of fighting them, and there's a part where they like jump on him, and the camera like kind of cuts out to that, and it's like behind the hobbits. But like the two hobbits are like real actors, but they're like midgets. Like they had like the actors, and then they had another set
little people
hobbits that were just little people who they'd like put in scenes when like they didn't have to look directly at the face, but they just wanted like the size proportion.
Right.
But in this one, I'm sure that they just use CGI most of the time.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like I know like the scene in Lord of the Rings that like Frodo and Gandalf were in like the house talking was like forced perspective, and like Gandalf was like Gandalf was like here, and like Frodo was like back here.
Yeah.
Like, or oh my gosh, what am I saying? Whatever. No.
I know what you're saying. Like they.
Yeah. Gandalf would be here, and Frodo would be here. Yeah. Type thing. And, like it's actually really cool how they did that, and we can talk when Lord of the Rings comes. But
regardless, back to the scene though.
Yeah.
When they were still like arriving, one thing that I did write down when they were arriving, he was like following them around the house, and like there were different scenes in the house. How big is dude's house?
Yeah.
Like obviously it's like short, but like he's like
isn't
wandering
like
forever.
Yeah, isn't it like the kind of the best house like there, like in the Shire? It's it's like the known house, right? Like,
I mean, I guess like in some parts of like this movie and the next movie, he kind of alluded to the fact that like they had some money, because remember how they had to like he had to hide all the spoons because they must have been like valuable.
Yeah.
So I guess and the fact that
money, but
exactly and that
but I think before, even his family, like the Tooks, I think had money, and the
Baggins,
Bilbo, the Baggins, like I think that just is like a well-known house. I mean, it's like on the hill, right?
Right.
It's just kind of on the top of everybody.
Yeah.
Of the whole Shire, but yeah, that house is massive.
It's big, right?
It's
like
cool,
it's short,
yeah,
but that was definitely one thing I wrote down.
Yeah.
Like I didn't necessarily take note of before. It's just how like I swear there's like 2 scenes of just like following him through like this maze. I'm like, where are we going?
Yeah. Great.
But also,
so,
still staying in the house though. Yes, I still have some more things before we leave the house.
Okay.
I like how they had the very specific parallel of like when everyone comes in, they're eating, the chaos and just like I don't know, joy and clumsiness of them eating, and just like it's like so like brutal, you know what I mean? That like just like throwing stuff around to like I don't know, it's just crazy from that, and then directly into them still like messing around, having fun, but being very precise in their movements of throwing around the dishes and not breaking anything.
Yeah.
To then following that, Thorin walking in, and they're just silent, respectful, and like knowing exactly what they need. You know what I mean? Like the parallel of craziness to precision to seriousness was really cool. How they did that all within like a span of like 2 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I love these movies because they give such like finally like a character definition and like backstory to the dwarves.
Yeah.
Where like in the Lord of the Rings, it mainly focused on like men and elves, because like those were kind of the people who were supposed to defeat Sauron.
That is a good point.
But like the dwarves like finally get their moment here, and like there's so much, like they're like, all right, give their whole backstory with Smaug and like kind of like what it was like there. They kind of gave them like that whole scene that you're talking about, like they're super chaotic during like food and stuff, but then they're like really precise on like things like that, like cleaning up. But then there's also like super serious.
Yeah.
And then even like later when they even talk about they give like more backstory when they went to go fight the Pale Orc for this first time and take back Moria, which like connects with Lord of the Rings as well.
Yeah.
When they go to the mines of Moria and stuff.
Yeah.
Which like the story of Moria is like really whack. I think it was like defeated by orcs, taken back by dwarves, and then defeated by orcs again, and then like Gandalf and them came during Lord of the Rings.
I think No.
Yeah, but, like, there's a
lot. Orcs or goblins? It was goblins the second time, wasn't it? Because they were fighting goblins, remember? In Lord of the Rings.
No, there were orcs. No, there were orcs.
No, I'm pretty sure they were goblins, remember? Because they came out down from the ceiling and stuff. I swear they're... I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. I swear they're orcs. But regardless...
Goblins are the ones... Okay.
Regardless, that is a good parallel. That is a good relation or, like, connection. Because when they get to the Mines of Moria in Lord of the Rings, the book that Gandalf is reading was written by one of the dwarves in this company. Who was it?
Really?
Yeah. He was... Where is it? I think it was... Hold on. Where's the characters? Where's the characters? Where's the cast? Oh, I believe it was Dwalin? Dwalin?
Oh, Dwalin?
I think so.
Yeah.
Big nose guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was him. And then the grave that's there is also one of these guys.
Really?
Yeah, there was a trivia somewhere, and I don't know where it is, and I probably shouldn't try and find it right now. But that was a good that was a good connection there. You also said one other thing. Oh, the other thing you said is how they gave more personality to people that weren't like men. This is the first Peter Jackson movie in this world that does not have a single race of men character in it at all. Because wizards are not considered men.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, they're not. Wizards are like... Dude, there's so much there's like so much like weird backstory in this because like obviously like J.R. Tolkien, like I mean he literally made another world and like languages for this.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I was listening to like podcasts about Lord of the Rings and like wizards are like I mean they're not men, but like they're kind of like put on Earth for like a task type thing and then like are taken away.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back if they need another one. Like, you know, like Gandalf becomes like the White Wizard in the Lord of the Rings and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. But thinking of that now, there is no race of men. Especially in this first one, there isn't, right? There is later. But
no.
They're not like, there's men later, but there's not like recognized.
Not in this one. This is the first one that there isn't. Yeah. In the following two, I believe there are.
That's dope.
But yeah, there's like a lot of like little like Easter eggs / like connections to Lord of the Rings in this. Like the axe carried by what's his name? Dude, there's so many freaking dwarf names. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's too much. It doesn't matter.
Gloin.
It really doesn't matter.
Gloin is the father of Gimli, and they carry the same axe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love how like if you click on Peter Hambleton, who's the guy who plays Gloin, it's literally like basically the only movie he's done. So his character is just Gloin from The Hobbit. Like his picture, his profile pic, which is funny. Yeah, that's cool.
One part before we get too far, because I guess this kind of relates more to like the prologue that I thought was really interesting. Is the Dwarvish was designed by Tolkien to sound like a Semitic language, and so the history of the Dwarves also really resembles that of the ancient Hebrews. So if you think about like the beginning of how their like whole land was taken over and they had to like flee and they left and then eventually came back, that was kind of a cool little thing that I saw there.
That is actually really cool.
Isn't it?
About that.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. Which
also,
like I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien was like a Christian guy and would talk with C.S. Lewis about his books.
Yeah, and one other guy. So, like, I never remember that there was three of them. I only remember those two. There was one other. I never remember. Yeah, there was three.
Maybe it was Jesus himself.
Who knows?
I mean, they're old.
One other thing before we get too far, as we're still talking about the individual dwarves, Bomber, he's the fat guy, right?
Yeah.
He has one line in the entire movie.
In this movie?
Yep, one. I don't know what it is.
Funny. What is it?
But he has one.
I can't think of it.
And apparently, during that food scene, that he caught an egg in his mouth, they did it on the first take.
That was real, right?
Yeah, he did it on the first take, and they couldn't repeat it, so they used the first take.
That's so funny. I love that scene.
Yeah,
it'd be great. Going on, like, because kind of the next part of the movie is like when they're camping out and talking about taking back Moria and stuff. Thorin, I just kind of thought of this. Thorin, it's called Thorin Oakenshield.
Yeah.
They really, I guess, didn't have, I don't know. And like, he used an oak branch as a shield against the Pale Orc.
Yeah.
Is that how he got his name?
Yeah. Don't tell me you just realized this.
I just realized that. Wouldn't he have his name beforehand, or his like last name's kind of not really a thing, and that's like Thorin and like what he's known for? Oh yeah, first of all, I have not depthly watched these movies.
Bro, since I noticed that the first time we watched this movie in the theaters.
Okay, you were like, I was like, how old? I was like,
nah, I don't want to hear it. Nope, 14? Not a good excuse.
I didn't care. Yeah,
that's I mean, cool though. But, I noticed it right away when dude was like, the only thing they had was an oaken branch. I was like, ah. And when he lifted it up as a shield, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, also though, is an oak shield really gonna block the like largest orc there, or goblin or whatever? I think they're goblins.
No, he's an
there.
Orc.
Like, bruh, it's not gonna block it. Dude, just like his shield gets just like knocked out of his hand in one, and then all of a sudden he can just grab a branch and then just like block these hits.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous.
So, yeah.
But you know what? That's a nitpick. But
oh no!
Come on.
Ah!
Oh, your battery died.
Hold on. Okay, we're back. We were talking about the oaken branch and stuff.
Oh yeah. That's kind of all I have on that. I mean, I wouldn't have blocked it. I like that whole battle scene though. Kind of like gave like backstory to Moria and stuff.
Oh,
I also only noticed that was like Moria because I was only paying attention. Like I haven't paid attention watching these movies because I haven't seen them in a while.
Yeah.
When they were like, we went to go reclaim our homeland in Moria, and I was like, oh, that's like the place in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I did write down a couple other things apparently before we left the place. When they first see the map. Bro, that's not a map. That's just a drawing of a mountain on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
There's nothing around. That's not a map. Don't tell me that's a map. All right.
Yeah, it's like half of a corner of the world.
Yeah. Even then, like if you look at the map of like Middle Earth, bro, we're talking about something that's like this big, and map of Middle Earth is like map. Yeah. All right, guy. Whatever. I wrote that down because I thought that was funny.
I don't know.
And then right before they leave, obviously the Misty Mountain hum thing that they do. That was so sick. That was so awesome.
I love it.
One of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
it is good.
So good.
It just kind of like goes, it like follows that like path of like personality from like being wild and like funny, like eating, going to like super serious and having like, I mean, that's like almost like giving them culture of like a song that they all know and like the kind of like music side of
it. It really is.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on to past that. What happened after that? Did we kind of get introduced to Radagast after that, right?
I think so. Yeah.
No, that was a little bit beforehand. I think we skipped it because
I wrote nothing
he was talking about. Oh, I just like Radagast.
I did.
Funny. Oh wow.
I did write one thing down actually. Radagast is the perfect balance of senile and wise.
Yeah.
I knew you'd like him because just like last week when we were talking about Back to the Future, you like the old crazy dudes. Dude's so whack.
He's so funny.
He's
so funny. I like how he has like bird poop like going down his head because he has like a nest in his hat.
It.
Okay, again, going back to the characterization of this, like I love the character Radagast because it's so creative. Like that little bird poop thing, like how the fact that he rides around with rabbits pulling like a sled, like snow dogs, but they're like little bunnies.
Yeah.
Like they gave him like, I mean, they really quickly gave him like a kid, like made us care about him because like he saved the life of like a hedgehog that was going to die and like a super caring towards animals, which is kind of like a thing that directors do to make you care about a character's like make them like animals. But like the scene in the house, I wrote this down because I kind of like, it's kind of, I don't know, I wrote the word imagery. I don't know if it's imagery or more just like kind of showing like darkness, but like, so the like witchcraft and kind of like the overarching like idea of darkness is like kind of encroaching on the forest, right? Like a bunch of animals are dying and there's like spiders. Yeah. And he grabs like a hedgehog and he goes in and he's like trying to save its life. And then towards the end, like you kind of see spiders like kind of crawling over the house. And then the hedgehog dies. And like then he grabs it and all like the creatures, like the living creatures like flood to him as he's kind of like huddled with it. And like it's kind of like interesting, like the imagery of like when everything, like the hedgehog finally dies and it kind of seems like dark and low and like less hope, I guess. That's when like the darkness and like the spiders start creeping in. But then he does his little like seance chant and like saves it, which and like it's kind of like, you know, like a showing of like light and like I guess life. And that's when like the spiders like, oh, never mind, and they start like running away.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like cool to me. Like that little like scene just kind of shows imagery of like the darkness is kind of like cowards. I mean, they like do these little things, and then when everything seems low, it's like then they can finally start coming in.
Right.
But like when there's like an essence of like life or hope, then they kind of like scurry away, and they'll come back later.
Yeah,
and it's like I don't know. I really like that scene. I feel like
it was good imagery.
Kind of see that as like, oh, yeah. Like you could either you could kind of just like, there's two ways I guess you could look at it as be like, oh, this is like spiders are back, or like this wizard is kind of weird and likes animals.
Yeah,
I feel like
I was literally just thinking, like literally right before you talked about that, I was thinking like, why is this guy important? Like, why is he in the story?
Yeah.
Like, is he really necessary? But then, like, literally after you just sell this, I feel like that is the whole reason why he's in this movie, is to like just portray or just like illustrate that underlying tone of like good versus evil, light versus dark in this movie. Is he in subsequent movies? I don't remember. In the next two, I honestly don't even remember.
No. Oh yeah.
I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. But
I don't. He's never like a large importance, but I think he's with Gandalf for like a bit.
Yeah, I think he is. Isn't he? I think he's in the next one. But I think that he portrayed that super well, because you know, like Gandalf kind of alludes to it a little bit, and especially when they were in Rivendell, they kind of talk about like darkness coming back and blah blah blah. But like this like illustrated that like super well right off the rip in the movie, so that you're not necessarily left wondering, but you know a little bit more than what they were talking about in like in Rivendell when they're talking together.
Yeah. Which is also like the scene with Radagast and the Necromancer. First of all, I haven't seen these movies in a while, like, especially like the next two, because I feel like I'm like you as well, where I'm like, let me watch The Hobbit, and then I watch the first one and never watch the other ones.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the Necromancer really has to play in this, besides him just being like an evil force.
That's Sauron. That's the first image of Sauron coming back. Also,
is it?
Yeah.
At
least that's what the trivia said. Also, do you know who plays the Necromancer? Obviously, it's literally just a shadow, but I recognized the shadow. Didn't know who it was, but then I saw on the IMDb page who it was, and I was like, oh yeah, duh.
I don't know, Peter Jackson?
No. Do you want me to give you a hint?
Just tell me.
He's in the next movie.
Is it what's he called? The guy who plays Legolas?
Nope. It is.
No, I don't know. Is it Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yes, it is.
Is it really?
Yeah. I literally like so you know, in this movie, it just takes like 2 steps, and he's literally just like a shadow, and I was like,
yeah.
Why do I kind of recognize this like what's the word? I literally just had it. The figure or the I don't know. Whatever. You know, like whatever. The shadow.
Yeah.
The imprint. I don't know. I literally can't think of the word. Because I was just listening to I listened to this podcast that is doing MCU, and they just talked about Doctor Strange, and I was like, why do I recognize this? Like, I don't know why, but it seems familiar. And then when I went to the IMDb page after I watched the movie, I was like, oh yeah, duh, it's Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just like he has like a long head, and he's got a really tall torso.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah,
so, yeah. But yeah, he plays Necromancer. But yeah, apparently, that was like the first, I don't know, notice or like sign that Sauron was back.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's what I think. I remember like them talking at the table, being like, Sauron is back.
Yeah,
but like I don't
like
get
an evil
why
force
they
was
needed
back, and he said, "Nah."
I guess, yeah.
And I mean, that place,
what's it called? Radagast, basically.
Yeah.
What?
That place that
we're talking about it still, yeah.
That place that they are is where the Fellowship, or is it the Fellowship, or is it just the Hobbits? They stay overnight, and the guy that tries to stab Radagast is the guy that stabs Frodo.
It is one of the ring wraiths.
Yeah.
He looks exactly like him. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like the sword that he gets then. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Cool.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's wild. It looks a lot better in this one. I mean, the CGI is like miles ahead, so I'm guessing that was all just CGI.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ghost like
they looked like different though too. Because in this one they're like more white. You know what I mean? Or like silver almost.
It looked like more colorful, I guess. I mean, they had more CGI on it.
But they were also they were also at night in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
to be fair. But
I mean, when in Lord of the Rings, when you saw like their ghost form, you saw them in like the wavy ring area. Otherwise, they were like the ring wraiths with the.
They were the same that rode the horses, right?
Yeah, ring wraiths.
Yeah, so they were like not even there. They just had like the helmet.
Yeah, no.
Huh.
Yeah, because like they live in like the. I don't know. They're like the men who got the rings who wanted power, but then were like tricked by like Sauron. And now they're like kind of just like dead and alive type creatures, so who kind of live in that like void. That's what the sword does. When he like stabbed Frodo, this is more of like a Lord of the Rings conversation, but it like part of it like kind of like it dissolves in you and like turns you into one of them. So like that's what they were trying to do, is like turn Frodo into one of them to give them the ring and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like that's what I mean. That's why the sword is like don't touch it type thing.
Now that I'm thinking about this, so God, I probably shouldn't talk about this because of Lord of the Rings, but whatever. When Frodo puts on the ring and he sees them, right?
Yeah.
Don't they look similar to how they look here?
Yeah,
they do, right?
Like they look the same. They like the guy who tried to stab Radagast. Like I recognized him because he looks like the one in Lord of the Rings. But they're the same people.
But I know they're the same people. But then when he's not wearing the ring, right? Just in normal everyday life, you don't see them, right? They're just like hollow, like either hoods or like masks or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when he puts on the ring, you do see them, right? Like just how you saw them here.
Yeah.
I swear that is what happened.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting that they like still like paired together. They're the same.
Yeah.
But
I think it's cool.
What happened next? The troll sequence.
The trolls. Trolls is such a boring scene to me. I think the trolls are funny.
The troll scene is
are funny.
10 minutes? Why does it feel like 30 minutes? It's not really important.
Yeah, because it just drags on.
It feels
I think long. It's funny again. They again were like really, they did a good job like characterizing the trolls differently, because like, you know, like you have like the mean one, the like middle one, and like the kind of timid, like the all right, let's cook him, the one who's like bullied by all of them. But also, I don't get how Bilbo knew to wait until sunrise.
You saw Gandalf. There was like a small cutscene where he looks and he sees Gandalf like jump over the thing. That was it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry. Someone in this household is just screaming.
I mean, and
I think they're gonna eat dinner or whatever.
Yeah, I can tell your internet is taking a poo now.
Oh, nice. But yeah, I mean, after that, I wrote nothing. The really isn't important.
Yeah. The only thing that's important that came out of that is that he got the sword.
Yeah, they all got swords actually. Gandalf got his elf sword that is later. I think he uses it in Lord of the Rings. It kind of looks familiar.
I think he does. Yeah, I think you're right.
Gandalf grabs one, and then Thorin gets like his, and then Bilbo gets Sting.
Yeah.
They all have names to them, but I only remember Sting.
Yeah.
But I wrote down, it's funny when they're in the cave, the dwarves, like a couple of the dwarves put treasure in a box and like bury it, and they go, we're making a long-term deposit.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's great. But also, like, those trolls were decked, bro. They had so much stuff.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Like, I thought they were just supposed to have come down the mountain, and they like took over like a whole.
That was a little weird, actually.
Just killed all these elves or something. Yeah, I don't know. I thinking too much about it. I guess it doesn't really matter.
I wrote nothing else up until they were next they were just chased by orcs, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they went into
the goblin kingdom.
Then they went into Rivendell, but then they went out into the Goblin Kingdom. Yeah, you're right. But Rivendell is kind of just like the whole scene that we already talked about at the table.
Yes, but before, when they're getting chased by orcs, I wrote this down because it's hilarious. There's the one dwarf out there, the one that gets the real long burp in the beginning. Mans is out here in a fight for his life with the slingshot, dude. What is this man doing? What? He's just out here like David and Goliath, a little thing with like an acorn, and dude just gets hit in the head like, It's like,
yeah, he shoots like the.
What are you doing?
The creature, and the creature just like brushes it off
so
quickly. Yeah, it's
funny. I wrote the dwarf is out here in a fight for his life with a slingshot. What is he doing?
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they go to Rivendell.
They go into
the only thing I wrote from there.
Rivendell happens except for the meeting.
Yeah, the only thing I wrote from there is Gandalf and Elrond, the two characters, are just having a blast, dude. You can tell, like, after the Lord of the Rings obviously happened like many years ago, and they came back to reprise his characters. They're having fun.
Yeah,
like those actors are just out here enjoying themselves.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I noticed that for sure. But yeah, then
all right, so
they leave.
Yeah, they go on and they leave, and they're stuck in that little boxing match with the rock giants, which is like such a weird thing that I guess it just kind of like forces them into the cave and gets them into the goblin thing.
Yeah,
but it was just like it just felt so random.
Yeah,
and I was just like, oh, so now like mountains can box each other all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think I
also I don't question it because it's like it's like Middle Earth. So
the first time I watched it like in the theaters and stuff, I was like, this is cool. Like, what the heck's going on? Whatever.
Yeah.
And now on a rewatch, it's just like, why are we here? Like, I don't
it seems like
I
so
get
weird.
it because it's like you're pushing them into the cave, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it was I don't know. It's whatever. Maybe it was just like a display of like cool CGI or.
Yeah. Which it is, but like I don't remember. I think it's in the books, but I don't remember if it's in the books or not. But it's such a weird plot line to just shove them in this cave
for like 3 minutes.
So many other reasons.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like, all right. So they get in the cave, right, and they go down to the goblin thing. And the goblins are so weird, man. They are so weird. That threw me off. When they went to the goblin cave, I was like, what are these things?
Yeah.
Like, they're so weird. But I don't know. I don't really have much to say besides that on the goblins themselves.
I thought the king was pretty cool. I like the king.
The king is funny. I like how he walks in like a pile of goblins up to his like throne.
Yeah, right.
And everything down there just seems like really poorly put together. And he's just like this fat like king, and like every time he takes a step, you think everything's gonna like crumble apart.
Literally.
All, like the woodworks and stuff. But yeah.
I have nothing much to say about that. Obviously like Bilbo is then separated and meets Gollum. The meeting of Bilbo and Gollum is so good. Like, it's just as good as the meeting of him and Gandalf. Yeah. Like, it's just it's gold. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. You know, that was the first thing they shot of these movies.
Really?
Was this?
Do you know that they shot this like a theatrical shot, or I don't know how to describe this. They shot it in one large take, like many times.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dope. I know they shot this because Andy, what's his name? Serkis. The guy who plays Gollum. Andy Serkis was the second director who would do stuff on like the second set. Yeah. So like they shot this first, and then he went to do his stuff.
Yeah.
But I love this, like this little scene of like back and forth with Gollum is like, I love it. It's like kind of weird. Because it shows Gollum when he had the ring, kind of, or when he thought he had the ring, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
And, like, you see less of, like, in this, I feel like you see less of Gollum and you see more of Smeagol, of, like, the nice side of him, you know? Of, like, not, like, because, like, Gollum is, like, the ring side of him.
Yeah.
And Smeagol is, like, the human, I guess, or, like, the light side. And you kind of see more of him here.
Yeah.
Which, like, is cool to me. But I also love, what was I going to say? The CGI. He looks great. Gollum looked good in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I think. But he looks great in this as well.
Yeah.
Like, they did a really good job on it.
Their whole interaction, I think at first I didn't really appreciate it as much, but, like, like on the rewatch, I thought it was really good. Like, the script between the two of them, the banter between the two of them, was just super enjoyable from when they were first meeting to even like the game of riddles, to everything. Mm-hmm. I just enjoyed this whole section a lot. I mean, after you get, obviously every time like you see Gollum for the first time, it's like, Oh my god, I don't want to look at this thing anymore. But then after a while, it's like, all right, whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it a lot. It was so.
I like how so Smeagol and Gollum is supposed to be Hobbit He's not really a Hobbit. He's just kind of they're alluded to that he's a Hobbit creature.
Yeah.
And the scene, I think, right? There's a scene where he's rowing to, or maybe no. Yeah, this is in this where he's
paddling,
rowing towards Bilbo. Yeah, and it's he's super stealthy, kind of like hobbits, where they can be quiet when they want.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I always like that scene where he's super quiet, and it's because it kind of makes Gollum really creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't write. I mean, I don't know. The scene is just really well done. The back and forth and the banter here. This is all basically from the book, so it's gonna be really good because this whole scene is in the book as well.
Yeah.
But
there's a callback in this.
I think it's really good.
And this movie, to the Lord of the Rings again. When Bilbo points a sword at Gollum, Gollum gawks at it and backs away in fear. This is a callback to the scene in Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, where Frodo threatens Gollum with the same sword that his uncle once used, saying the line, "This is Sting. You've seen it before, haven't you?" Good little callback.
Yeah, he does say that.
I thought that was cool how he says that, but that movie was made before this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, that's said in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. I didn't really. I mean, this scene is just gold in itself. And then he gets the ring, and then they kind of have that. What happens after the chase scene when Gandalf saves them from the goblins is so funny. I like that little run scene when he kills the king, and then all the goblins are chasing them.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. The scene is a little I feel sometimes in that scene I could be ooh, the CGI kind of looks whack, but I feel that's just because there's so much happening. There's so many creatures being thrown around and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was fine.
I mean, that scene is good as well though. It's kind of it's kind of a CGI scene.
Yeah.
Which is
definitely.
This is what we can do. Then they get out and they get jumped.
Yeah, honestly, post them leaving the mountain, the rest of the movie kind of seems a little drawn out to me. I just kind of got bored past that. But at the same time, I don't know how I would have ended it either. Obviously, it's kind of a hard movie to end because you're setting a lot of stuff up, but you also don't want to put too much in the first movie, so that the second movie is either doesn't have enough content or is boring compared to the second, or there's you know what I mean. You have to have just enough of a cliffhanger that you're really excited for the second movie. So. I don't know how I would have ended it either, but the end of it, post them running out of the mountain, I was just all right, I'm kind of bored.
I mean, the ending scene does a good job of kind of completing Bilbo's arc of this first movie of him being brave and stuff, and him jumping. Is it that he jumps on the pale orc, or he jumps on just a orc? I forget who he jumps on to save Thorin, right?
Yeah,
he's
just
the one.
An orc, yeah.
It's just an orc, right? Yeah. So it kind of it completes that of Bilbo being a timid wanting to stay in the Shire kind of person, and then fighting. I mean, he kind of does a little back and forth with Gollum, and he runs away from that, and then becomes brave and saves him. And then it also kind of closes out Thorin's kind of arc, how he's this kind of stubborn old hating everything because everything's been taken from him to be more flexible and I mean, I his take on Bilbo, right? How he kind of sees him as a extra weight, and then at the end he's I was wrong about you type Hobbit, you're really brave type thing,
Yeah.
Which I actually agree with Thorin. I thought Bilbo was annoying in the beginning of this movie. He's so annoying when he's everybody stop, I need my handkerchief. And then he did I write this down? What does he do? Oh, he gets grabbed by the trolls, and he's the reason why they are almost cooked and stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's just a nuisance, and I'm oh my gosh, he's so annoying. But then now he actually finally does something, and he saves Thorin. And I'm Thorin's attitude towards Bilbo is my attitude towards Bilbo, I feel, throughout the film as well. It's funny. And it comes to the exact same spot at the end of the movie.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually.
But
I guess it does
I agree that
I feel this first movie is a lot more of a story about Bilbo more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, The Hobbit is literally about, it's in the name, but like, it's like more of a story arc of him more so than anything else. Whereas, like you look at Lord of the Rings, like the first movie of Lord of the Rings, I don't really see it as much of a story arc for just Frodo. I feel like the story arc for just Frodo is more in the second movie or even the third movie than.
I feel like more third, yeah. I mean, they're like, you can even make arguments in Lord of the Rings and stuff that like Aragorn in parts of the movie is the main character, is like the protagonist. Oh, yeah. Like especially the second one.
Yeah.
Like the second movie, Aragorn basically becomes a protagonist of that movie, where like he's the main character arc you're following. But yeah, I agree. Bilbo is definitely like center stage in this one, which is good. Kind of like setting him up as like a front character to like the next three movies.
Yeah. But yeah, that's actually true. Now that we're talking about it. I mean, at the same time, I still feel like the end of the movie, to me, still gets a little slow. But at the same time, it does close out his character super well. I just think right after, no, but even then, no, the makeup is after that. Yeah, I don't know.
I agree that last part is like kind of dragged on. I always feel like when I'm watching, I'm like, all right, like, are we done?
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna?
Yeah.
Like, is Thorin done having his little like
But
I don't even know.
To be fair,
his little
any movie this long, I have the same opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
Even like every single one of the Harry Potters, I'm like, by the end, I'm like, all right, are we done? Even like the Lord of the Rings, I'm like, okay, are we done yet? Like, I can't even think of any. What else is like super long? And I'm like, I don't know. A lot of like, it's hard to like capture someone's attention for that long. And like the last,
you're right.
I feel like the last like of movies that are over 2.5 hours, the last like 10 to 15 minutes are always like that to me. That they're just like, all right, are we done? Mm-hmm. Like, how are we gonna close this? Can we close this now? You know what I mean? So I guess I can't really fault specifically this movie for that.
I feel like maybe the end kind of was like a little weird because it went with like went from like Bilbo and Gollum and you kind of being tense, being like, oh, is Bilbo gonna get away or is like Gollum gonna hurt him? To like the dwarves trying to get away from the goblins, and then there's like 2 minutes, and then they all get out and there's 2 minutes of rest, and then there's like the dwarves are jumped again by the orcs.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like tired at that point. You're like, oh my gosh, are we done? Yeah. Getting jumped all the time and like being fearful.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, because like obviously Bilbo isn't gonna die. Maybe Thorin dies right here, but like, there's a little bit where you're like,
how does that even end? Like this movie, like obviously, like I know it ends with like Smaug, but how does that whole scene end? I don't even remember.
So like they're on the tree, right? And then the eagles come and save them, and they fly off to like a hill and a mountain, and they drop them.
Yeah,
and then
the whole like I was wrong about you.
Yeah, Gandalf kind of like resuscitates Thorin, and then they're like, "Oh, I was wrong about you," and then you kind of pan off into the Lonely Mountain, and you see Smaug, and the movie's done. That's like how it ends.
Apparently, when they're on those trees, and the background is where I don't remember the twins and Treebeard. That whole sequence takes place in the background of that scene.
Really?
Apparently,
that's cool. So that's like that forest.
Yeah, apparently
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I read that in like I think it was again the trivia page because I frequent that when I watch these movies.
Yeah.
So like really before that scene happened, I saw that. So the whole time I was sitting there like, is it happening? I can't see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But apparently it happens. But that's cool. I like the very end of this movie. I like how you're like the eye opening and then it just ends. Yes. I was like, let's go. Yeah. It got me hyped for the dragon.
I remember seeing that in the theaters and be like, you can't just give me that much of the dragon, and then ended. And then it just ended it. And then the next movie comes, and that's great.
I really want to talk about the dragon now, but I'll wait for the next one.
No, we'll wait. Yeah, the dragon's great. I love behind the scenes of the dragon. But all right, next movie. All right. I mean, all in all, we kind of talked about this movie completely, and I feel like this podcast has been quite long.
Yeah, we're going for just over an hour. I can't really think of much else to say about it. I mean, touch on CGI. Overall, it's pretty good. There's only a couple spots that both of us thought were kind of shaky. I mean, sound design, fantastic as always.
Fantastic.
Music to sound effects.
Same music, Peter Jackson. Yeah.
It's all excellent.
I don't know who the composer was. I'm going to glance real quick, but it's
who
good.
Is it? I don't actually know.
Composer, Howard Shore.
Okay. Don't know him.
He did Twilight, Aviator, Lord of the Rings and stuff. Hobbit. That's interesting.
Canadian composer.
He's great though. I love the music here. So good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just great. You hear Lord of the Rings music, you hear Hobbit music, you know what it is.
Yeah. Middle Earth music is great. Yeah. Apparently, this is speaking Middle Earth stuff. This is the first Middle Earth movie in the Middle Earth, whatever, to not win an Oscar.
Yeah.
It was nominated for 3 different sections. I don't know which. I think it was at least Best Picture, and 2 others. Yeah. But it did not win any of them. It was the first one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Awards. Nominee: Best Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyle, Achievement in Visual Effects, and in Production and Design.
Oh.
Yep, they didn't win any of them. Dang.
I feel like makeup and whatever the first one was. That one, I don't know. I'm curious what else won it that year then to be better.
Yeah, that'd have to be what is it up against, but they're usually really good with that. I mean, these movies are, and Peter Jackson most of the time is really good with practical stuff. More so in Lord of the Rings than this, because I feel like they started kind of crutching on green screen for their big stuff. But like, I mean, when it comes to like small things and details, like he's good with like practical stuff, which is cool.
Is that it? Balin is the same character whose tomb is visited in Moria and Shepherd. Oh my gosh, why do I keep saying Shepherd, bro? There's not even that word isn't even on here. Balin is the same character whose tomb is visited in Lord of the Rings and Moria.
Balin, like the really old one, who's like
apparently.
Oh, that's so sad.
There was, I swear, it said somewhere about the book he was reading was written by one of them. But anyway, no, there's one other thing I was gonna say. Every single one of these movies in this trilogy was filmed straight. And shoot, where is it? It said how long it took. It was 200 and that's not it.
Like they filmed all 3 of them in like one production. Like yeah. I mean that makes sense.
266 days of principal photography. Yeah. They filmed 3 movies in a row.
I know.
They did that for something else too.
I know to film this, they pushed back the schedule because they really wanted
Martin Freeman.
Who plays Bilbo? Yeah, they really wanted Martin Freeman, and his schedule was like blocked up by Sherlock.
Yeah.
And so they pushed back production for like a couple months to do it.
Yeah. There's a couple other things, like some actors like Christopher Lee filmed all his stuff in the UK because of health concerns. He died like I think 2 years after this film came out, or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. This came out in 2012.
A great actor.
I think he died in.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that dude was the amount of series that guy was in, like crazy massive series that guy was in, from Lord of the Rings to Star Wars. He was like super well known for Dracula.
Yep.
I don't even know what else.
He's a great actor.
3 years later, in 2015.
Yeah.
James Bond.
Yeah.
He was in James Bond.
All right. What do you rate this movie, Thomas? After discussing it, what is your rating?
IMDb gives it a 7.8. Let's just say that quick. And what does Rotten give it? Just out of curiosity. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 64, bro. No way, 64.
Yeah.
89%
this movie,
of
I don't know why
viewers like this movie. I would give it like an 8.
Hobbit was not liked by people, but yeah, not sure I'll put it. I was gonna say like 8.2, something like that. I don't think it hits 8.5, but I think like it can be up a little bit more than 8.
I think I'm gonna have to revisit this after maybe after the third one. But I think the second one is my favorite out of this series. I can't honestly say because I don't actually remember.
Yeah, seems like something
this movie made a bunch of money though. It made over $1 billion worldwide, which is pretty good.
Oh, of course it would. Even if it wasn't like,
dude, their budget was $180 million, and they made $1.021 billion. With a
their budget for like all of them was like the budget for like all of it was like 500 million or something like that, or like 400 million.
Yeah,
I think I just like Googled The Hobbit and it just had like estimated budget for all 3, and it was something like that, which is gnarly. But I mean, they do so much, like especially Peter Jackson with these. He does so much. I mean, this movie did a lot of CGI, but he also does a lot of like location, like shooting on locations and like in Australia or New Zealand and stuff like that.
Would you like to guess what movie has the highest budget and what it is? Single movie.
Like ever?
Single movie, yes.
Ever?
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's almost $1 billion.
Pirates of the Caribbean holds the record of a budget of $378.5 million, while the Hobbit trilogy stands as the most expensive back-to-back film production with a combined cost of over $623 million after tax credits.
Why did I think that?
After tax credits.
Wow.
So
why did I think that the Pirates of the Caribbean was so way more expensive? I thought it was like $800 million.
That's still a lot.
I know that movie. That's still, like one of the movies was like a lot. Yeah.
That's over $100 million more dollars than any Avengers movie.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's by about $10 million. That's about $110 million more than any Marvel movie. Anyway.
All right. This has been going on a while.
I'll give it a solid 8.
Do as well. Yeah,
I would a solid 8. You give it 8, 8.2. I don't know. I'm excited for the second movie. I want to see more dragons.
Same.
And more.
I just love these movies. Gosh, these movies are great. Yeah, they give me such a comforting feeling. When I started this movie, I was just like, yes! Like I just forgot the feeling of watching Lord of the Rings. I love it. It's my favorite. It's like, honestly, I think it's my favorite like IP type thing.
Yeah.
Like how you like Star Wars and stuff. I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I like it more than Harry Potter. I think that's always like the big it's always the big three: Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. To me, it's Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. I heard this in a podcast, and like this is just kind of a general, like a true fact. And thinking about this, J.R.R. Tolkien put in like characteristic like he's basically the father of like modern day like fantasy, high
fantasy tropes. Yeah, like when you think of a wizard, you think of a pointy hat, an old guy, like a cloak. When you think of an elf, you think of a nimble archer. When you think of a dwarf, you think of like a short, stubby, like melee, like angry, grumpy fighter. Like all these things were created by J.R.R. Tolkien, and like every new fantasy thing is like broken into these, is like held on by these like ideas because they're so strong and they're just like put in people's minds and they think of these now. And this dude is a genius. Gosh, I love. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna say I was like thinking about like what's it called? Like questioning that rather. Because I don't know when the Hobbit came out. I just looked. 1937.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that at all. He probably is.
Yeah.
Because that's like before pretty much that's before any wizard animated movie came out, because Snow White came out in 35 and that was the first Disney movie.
It's like
wow, that is actually a very good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Anyway,
fantastic.
We are very excited for this series. We will obviously be following it. If you haven't noticed already, we will be following The Hobbit with Lord of the Rings. So if you guys are excited for that, definitely hit that subscribe button, because we have a lot of Middle Earth coming at you for the next 6 weeks. 5 after this one. So hope you all are excited. Definitely hit that sub button. If you guys enjoyed this movie or didn't enjoy it or whatever, let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, obviously. Other than that,
if you'd like to watch the movie as we watch it for next week, obviously we're watching the second Hobbit, so watch that before next week.
Yeah, they are all on HBO Max. If you have HBO, they're all on there.
Yeah, that's what I'm watching.
Also, recently we have been talking about our social media presence and what we're going to be doing with it. I think figured out what we're going to be posting on Instagram. So if you don't already follow us on Instagram, hit that link below in the description and follow us there, because I am planning to start posting on that account. Don't know what Isaac's doing on Twitter, but maybe he will too. So follow our socials down below in the description. I believe that is it for this week. This is Mando. I'm Thomas. This is Isaac. We are Brothers on Air. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
See you later.